Well, good morning, everyone. We have one of the most entertaining and personality-filled sessions you can expect today. They're all going to point fingers at each other, but we've got tons of content to fill. I think, what was the last count? Like 40 slides that we're going to be trying to go through. Yes.
So we're down to 40. That's
down to 40, yes. I did cut out the whole clown show part. Okay, so let's start off and we'll do introductions. The topic we're going to talk about today is looking for ways to be able to get additional revenue from your units. And we got lots of ideas, lots of actual things that are being implemented, and lots of videos of examples that I think you'll all appreciate today. So we'll do introductions. We'll start off with
But I want to go first, please.
Okay, you go
Let me
first.
go first.
Go for it.
Here we go.
Pete.
Here we go.
Pete Regul is here. I'm here with CORT Furniture, and I looked around the panel, and they asked me to join, and I'm like, who's the sales guy? And I'm like, oh, God, I'm going to be the furniture sales guy up on the panel. So I'm a lot more than that. I'm proud to work for CORT, but I'm also on the multifamily speaking tour called the Apartment All-Stars. We speak around the country talking about motivation, inspiration, really, and how to help you rent apartments. That's kind of what we do. And in 2021, I was named NAA's Lifetime Achievement Award winner, which means I'm old, which means I'm old. But I've been around, so I know a couple of things. So I think I can fit into the panel and not just be the furniture guy. Long-winded introduction.
Okay, there we go. We'll do Demetrius next, and I think to stay with the theme, do the normal intros, but then you got to brag about something.
Yeah, well, I thought you were 28, but I guess we'll come back to that. So Demetrius Barnes, I run a consulting firm. Most notably, started a company called Smart Rent, IoT stuff. But really at my core, I'm a student of the multifamily space, grew up in the space. My mom was an asset manager back when I was in high school. So I go anywhere else. I'm the dumbest guy in the room, but I think I know a few things about multifamily. Bragging, I'm too young for a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh, that's a shock. I'm going to win it twice, though. I'm the only one. I'm not young.
But I had an IPO at 34, so blessed to just stay on the train and try to keep moving multifamily forward.
He's really tall, too.
He
By
is.
the way. Sorry.
All right, next
Hi,
up,
everybody.
you've been hearing about her for the last day or two, but now you get a chance to hear about Carol.
You guys are setting the bar way too high. Hello, it's been so great to be on sessions with many of you in the room this week, and love meeting new people every time I come to this conference. But my name is Carol Van Hook. I'm the Director of Leasing and Marketing with Akara Partners, now going to Akara Living, and I run a brand called Connect. We've built purpose-built housing for traveling professionals all over the United States, and it's more micro-living, but we have a hospitality emphasis with a lot of heavy social programming and really activating a lot of our spaces all throughout the properties. We're also building this to be able to pop around the country and use any Connect property and amenity when you travel for work. So we have a hoteling component, a retail component, and again, the heavy influence of hospitality that you'll see in a lot of my content today. And to brag, I've been using video in marketing since 2015. I come from the student housing luxury development world since 2010, before that hotels, but I've been using video in marketing and sales since 2015. And I found a company out of Canada called Vidyard, and I ended up winning the International Video and Sales Award, and I was the only person from Multifam. And there was other people from like Verizon, T-Mobile, and more B2B sales, and I'm B2C. So I won that, which is pretty cool. My mom was really proud.
Legend.
So are we.
And all the videos from you that we're going to see in this, you were telling me they all have a minimum number of views. What was that kind of number you were
So
sharing?
all the videos you're going to see today, either on TikTok, YouTube, Shorts, which I'm obsessed with YouTube Shorts. These all have over 10,000 and higher views and impressions on that. There's 2 videos on here that have hit 31 million views on Instagram.
Wow. Okay.
All organic, user-generated content with our influencer program in-house.
Okay, enough bragging. Okay, Taylor.
Yeah, wow.
Holy moly.
Even though you spoke yesterday, I want you to introduce yourself again because there might be some people in the audience that weren't here yesterday.
Yeah, you're good. To follow these 3 esteemed people, I think it's very challenging. But I'm Taylor Whitaker. I'm the founder and CEO of PropTech IQ. Ultimately, we're a sales enablement platform leveraged by vendors to better communicate their value to owner operators like yourselves. Now, where that came from, of course, I came from the owner operator side working at Alliance Residential, and then after that, BH Management, where I sat in those seats myself, attended this conference since, good God, 2017. Yeah. Been to quite a few of these, but ultimately I've seen the struggles firsthand. And ultimately I wanted to help solve those struggles for you guys. So that's really what I've been focused on the last several years. But really, multifamily has been a passion, and I will tell you that I heard when I got in this industry back in 2018 that no one chooses multifamily, but once you're in, you never leave.
You can't get out.
I believe that because you can't leave. Like for real, I'm stuck, and I'm a lifetime person for sure. But I guess humble brag would be I started my first company when I was 18 and sold it before I was 21. So pretty much just kind of started off as an early entrepreneur and then did some consulting for Ford Motor Company. But yeah.
Was that humble?
Yeah.
Just brag. I guess it's all brag.
Good stuff.
And I'll add it. So my name is Brandon Savage. I teach in the business school at Kansas State University. Also work for a company called Vozic AI. My humble brag will be if you go to the website Rate My Professors, which is what the students kind of use.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Professor.
I have the highest ranking and most reviews of any faculty at K-State. And I've only been teaching for 6 years. So
Killer.
I've been
That's
wow.
impressive.
All right.
You just put K-State on notice.
That's right. Here is our overview for today. So we're going to look at some industry trends, talking about how we can get ancillary revenue. We're going to look at it from an operator perspective. We're going to look at a whole bunch of examples and takeaways. And if we've got time left, we get through all of these slides, we can answer some questions as well, although you're always free to jump in throughout. So to start off looking at industry trends, I think I've got my first question teed up for Demetrius.
Yeah.
What are some of the emerging trends you're seeing in terms of like outside retailers and vendors seeking access to multifamily residents? How are they approaching the operators and what type of partnerships are they offering?
Well, I think big brands have realized, there's got to be a way to get their brands in the hands of prospects who are touring regularly. An average 300-unit building may have 100 tours in a month. Well, those prospects are probably looking at 10 to 15 communities. So a lot of tours are happening. And so what we're seeing is a lot of different platforms. There's others really, really awesome people who've decided to do these types of things in-house. But there are platforms out there that are bringing those brands from, your Apples to your Lifetime Fitness, Target, you name it. Folks that are aggregating these products, allowing these brands to pay for some of that real estate. So maybe your model homes that are not collecting any rent, right? Those brands will really just pay for your rent, right? And then you also see additional services, things like dog walkers and dry cleaners and such. So you're seeing platform companies offer services that are doing rev share programs, with operators, with owners, to really just facilitate a great experience for your prospect, for your resident.
Okay, so flipping it over to Taylor, building on those points, how can the technology help bridge the gap between the resident needs and then the services operators and vendors that want to provide?
Absolutely. So really, about 15 years ago, it would have been very challenging to provide services to the door, just primarily because there's so much logistics. I mean, if you had food delivered, for instance, I remember living in an apartment prior to, seamless access control. And it was always such a frustration that I'd order food and then I'd have to be on the phone and find the people. Where did they put my food? Could they find my apartment? Could they get to my apartment? You know what I mean? So it's like the hurdles of getting access to the services really have been solved by technologies like access control and IoT and things like that really bring a seamless curb to couch experience where, someone that DoorDash or wherever, or a dog walker, whoever, Spot wants to go out, you know what I mean? Make sure we can actually see when the dog walker arrived, how long was Spot outside of the apartment, and ultimately when did Spot get back into the apartment and that dog walker leave. These are things that if you weren't there before, it would be very challenging, once again, to have that trust in one of your most, of course, prized family members, a dog like Spot. So I think IoT, really access control, are the gateway to enabling future revenue and ultimately monetizing outside of just the square footage of the community itself.
And I'd also add, I think we've seen a huge shift with folks adopting Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah.
And the reason I even bring that up, anyone that manages or owns buildings, There's like two main reasons that people move out of your buildings. It's maintenance, one, so it's not giving great service. Number two, it's cell connectivity. So I think about your example 15 years ago. I remember when you lived in a really nice high-rise, concrete, infrastructure, just beautiful building.
Oh, yeah.
But I couldn't call you. You couldn't pick up my phone. So, if you were trying to get a hold of that DoorDash, like you've got to run to the front of the property to get that call. So yeah, I think another just piece is Wi-Fi is becoming almost a requirement in today's world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll get some opinions outside of the furniture as well, but looking just within your furniture role, what are some of the most promising opportunities you guys see for helping your clients to be able to generate ancillary revenue?
Yeah, I want to speak to a big picture. I got a slide up here. The only number I really want you to focus on is 100%. I even brought a prop, 100%, right? It means a couple things to me. 100% of people that are moving are going to do something with their furniture, right? They're going to dispose of it, they're going to sell it, they're going to move it, they're going to buy it, they're going to rent it. But it also applies to 100% of people that are moving are going to spend money, right, on something. Everyone, my boss even said this, he goes, God, I got 2 kids that are moving, they need everything. They don't know what they need, right? So as a multifamily owner-operator, I need to talk to that group, that 100%. So from the furniture space, there's a lot of revenue share because the other stat up there is 77% of people in the survey said, would you be interested in a furnished apartment? 77% said yes, they'd be interested in hearing about it. There's revenue share associated with that. I think guest suites, which we'll talk about later, furnished apartments. There's just a lot to do. Furniture is a big component. You can also think about the retailers, a Wayfair or somebody like that that would want their products displayed in that model. So furniture is a key part. I guess that's why you called me. Just remember that technology has opened the door. You couldn't do much of this before, and now you can. So we have to open our eyes to it is a big opportunity. People that are moving, and even the residents that are there, it's a captive audience for a lot of these major retailers. They'll pay. Absolutely. They will definitely invest, I should say. They'll invest.
Well, and I was on a panel yesterday with the Wayfair team, and they had a really interesting stat. It did not apply to my household when we moved. But I want to say that the number was that people that are doing move-ins, they're spending about $4,700 immediately just on new furniture, going from one place to another. And I thought that was wild. Again, for my house, it's probably like 10x that. But
and mine was $47. That's furniture, but think about all the other things too, right?
Yeah. To your point, out of college town, it is amazing to watch how our Walmart and our Target transform in the month of August as the students are coming back in anticipation of what their needs are going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as we start looking from an operator perspective, I'll flip it over to Carol. Akara has adopted a pretty unique approach for bringing many services in-house. Can you elaborate on the decision-making process behind that strategy and what factors led you to choose that path?
Yeah, absolutely. So bringing a lot of services in-house has been really important to us since we launched this brand in 2017 when we started building the one in Nashville, and then 2019 when we actually opened. So bringing all the services in-house, but we didn't start with everything in-house. Like we had to learn and really actually change our org charts, look at our job descriptions and our overall pay, because we knew from the get-go we wanted to have lean teams. But with the teams being so busy on site, I mean, you can, and what they make, hourly, you can only ask them to do so much. So we started small with learning how to do in-house cleaning. And we wanted to bring that in-house because, again, we focus heavily on hospitality and we have a short-term rental program. So we know that we wanted to bring that all in-house, have our own inventory, our own restock, our soft goods, hard goods as well, and perishables. Consumables. So that's like your coffee, tea, creamers that you have like in a hotel room. So we knew that we wanted to do that for our short-term product. 80% of our product is fully furnished with our own furniture that we developed. It took us 4 years to do that with a prototype because we have electronic furniture that kind of comes out of the wall. So bringing in-house cleaning.
Let's go.
I'll get
give
back
you
on
the
track
control
here.
and let's walk through this.
And here's my card in case you need anything. I didn't want to sell it.
Well, CORT is a good partner, but we have developed our furniture program, but we keep some stacks unfurnished just for that. And I've absolutely had to go to Laura Lee with CORT. So So the things that we have learned to bring these services in-house is to get constant feedback. And we use polling, we use modern message, we have Ellis surveys. I'm sure everybody has some form of survey questionnaire that they trigger to their residents after move-in and halfway through their residential journey. So we get a lot of feedback, and we actually read those quarterly on the corporate side. So we read the good, we read the bad, and we kind of keep track of that year over year. We have in-house feedback forms. So our concierges, our leasing coordinators, our membership directors, we have this form, and it's kind of like the office suggestion box, and it's all anonymous. And it's just one link, and it goes to like a Google form that I created, because our CEO back in the day was like, I want to get all the feedback from what the sales coordinators are seeing. Are the shower hooks too low? What are people actually like giving feedback on the tours? Because we don't always see that being off-site most of the time. So we have this in-house, suggestion box, and we read that as well. Number 3, we understand what busy professionals want. And this is through more polling and just really understanding our demographic, which are traveling professionals. So these are services that, is it your daily routine? Is it your laundry service? What gives you more time back for work and social life and travel, right? And then number 4 is time-consuming tasks. So taking that off their plate. So what we found was busy professionals want in-house cleaning, and this is something I'm going to touch on that is really exciting that we've rolled out in the past year and a half. And it's through a simple online booking process with a simple charge, and our concierges actually do this now. And we have coffee services, not only black drip coffee, cold brew, but we've installed a market in our lobbies. And it's now part of the Connect brand, and it's called Market. And we have a package delivery service in-house. And of course, we are known for our furnished department. So 80% of our product is furnished. So this is a quick clip of Brother Joe. He actually works with Garth Brooks. He's a huge musician in Nashville, and he was part of our influencer program to do our pool jams, which is a live concert series we do by the pool each summer, and then in the wintertime it turns into lobby jams.
Yo, yo, yiggity, yo, you've scrolled up on Brother Joe, and I'm going to take you for a day in the life at Connect Nashville. First, it's time for some free coffee. Now let's do work. I'm setting up for the artist showcases at Connect. This community is nestled on Music Row, and we love to showcase some of the brightest up-and-coming artists with acoustic and full band performances. But now I'm getting kind of hungry, so let's head to the 7th floor amenity deck. Tonight's menu is fried rice and egg rolls. We're gonna whip up some dinner with some neighbors, even the furry ones. Then we get to grab some complimentary refreshments and enjoy Connect Flicks and Grill. Then don't forget, we can power it down in a...
So you can see just bringing that to life, and he's a busy professional. He's not in his apartment all the time. He's out exploring. He's, having his social life right on property. So, you can see part of his daily routine is I'm going to get my coffee. And so we know busy professionals want their coffee. Now, one thing I wanted to share was something that we're changing with our coffee service. So coffee is very expensive, and if you're in a busy, active community, it can just eat you alive. So we have now limited our cold brew to be filled twice a week. So the kegs are filled twice a week, and that's it. And so we set that expectation now. And then we're now moving to the black drip coffee with your creamers and your non-dairy creamers. So you can just go and get a black drip coffee, and it's a local bean brewery, or not brewery. It's a local bean coffee maker. And so it's still really good coffee. But we have now figured out to save costs and keep, without having to increase costs back to our members and our residents, we're now doing the black drip coffee option, and then the kegs get filled twice a week with cold brew. So we're still giving that service, but we're not having to charge back because we were just spending so much on coffee. And then we have our market. So now people can go downstairs and get their boba, the matcha and the elevated espresso coffees that if they want to spend a little bit more. And then I'll talk a little bit about creating that experience in-house to get people to go on their daily routine to market.
Okay, pass back. I'm going to flip it over. Let's see. I don't know why I didn't line up my questions right, but let's backtrack.
I can jump in.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, so one thing I want to say, first of all, Carol, what you're doing is amazing. Think about all the different services she bought. Two things came to mind. One is overwhelming, right? I'm glad they have Carol because that's how it gets done. But she's bringing services that bring value to that property and value to that resident, right? So if I was going to move from Connect, where would I go? I'd be so disappointed at the next stop. Even if I bought a home, I'd be disappointed, right? So then I thought, well, what makes it different? They have Carol, right? That's why that works. What you need to do is think. There's a couple other ways to do this. One would be to do some of these things yourselves, and maybe do one or two of them.
Yep.
You can find these partners that she has. What I want you to do is find the Carol at the texting place, or at the coffee place, or at the dog walking place, or at the furniture. I'm the Carol at my place. I'm Carol at Court, right? Where I care more about providing the service and getting the resident happy than all the other stuff that comes with it. So option 2 is to do these things yourselves, because then you can pilot, you can test, less risk, you're not going all in, right? And then the other way to do this, and Demetrius, I want you to talk about it, is just outsource the whole platform.
Yeah, 100%. And you can see it on your screen. Some of the logos on the left. These are big time REITs, big time operators. Right? They fully believe in everything that Carol is saying. They just probably haven't gone through org chart.
It's a lot of work to try to figure it out on your own. So it's like always good to start small with one or two things, like Pete's saying, and then figure it out, learn the process, see if it works for your business.
Yeah. And so in the middle, these are examples of companies that today you can call and will offer some sort of amenity offering for you. Again, whether that's additional services, dry cleanings, dog walkers. I don't know if they have coffee, black drip coffee, but they've got something. Or maybe they're doing digital amenities, digital rewards. You're seeing some folks where just by paying rent, right, you're getting a reward that you can use later for additional items. Again, that's where these brands come into play. Wouldn't it be great if you had a relationship with LG and folks that are moving in, hey, they can buy a TV now that's 10 or 15% off compared to going to Best Buy or Walmart or something like that. So as Pete said, try something yourself, but definitely call a partner that's servicing national companies that can come in immediately and bring you some value.
Yeah, I think with the in-house cleaning, we didn't realize, just all the little things. You should see our SKU list of, down to your wine openers and your cutting boards and your pizza cutters, right? That you just, don't think of when you furnish these apartments, and then going into clean and everything that you have to have on hand because we have our own custom scent, so residents get their, and then we had to develop the packages of, do you want it once a week, twice a week? What's the discount? And then of course the experience of booking, the communication, the tracking of accessing the apartments, and then getting the feedback. So was the resident satisfied? And that way we can track the satisfaction.
So just think for a second, you live in a multifamily, this is your home, you live in an apartment, and the company provides cleaning services at a fee. And many of these you can pick and choose, whether it could be cleaning, it could be handyman stuff, it could be just literally anything. And you pick your package. And now you're thinking, oh, it's renewal time. I want to go to this other place across the street. It's a little bit less. Man, I love my cleaner. Mm-hmm. I love, because I get hooked on that. Mm-hmm. And then you layer in coffee service, indoor package delivery. Or maybe they let me pay my rent in 2 payments. All these things I mentioned, you're making a small little bit of that. And you're bringing value to the resident. I don't want to move. Right? Just pause on that for a second, because that big part of what costs a lot of money is this turnover of people. I couldn't leave your place. You could charge me what I couldn't leave.
And we know sometimes we have a percentage of a deadline of our residents because we cater to digital nomads. So we know that they may be with us for a little bit, or our grad students, they're going to be leaving at some point. So we account for that 20% kind of up and down of those shorter term leases, less than 12 months. But we're getting premiums on top of that. So we're getting well above market rate to make up for that for the short-term premiums.
So if a company was decided, okay, I want to start somewhere, we're not actually doing furniture yet, and maybe I'll give that a try. Can you walk through how turnkey a company like CORT can make this for them?
Yeah, and I think we're going to show a couple of examples here. So Taylor, this is all about technology, right? You couldn't have done this before. You remember back in the day, people used to visit the apartment community and take a tour of 10 or 12 communities. They do everything online now. So what we're suggesting for the furniture piece is to put something on your property website, on the floor plan or on your landing page that says furnished apartments available or furniture available, because we know that 100% of people moving, right, have to make a furniture decision. So we want to speak to that audience. So this tab is completely customizable, and then so it's completely customizable, and it connects directly with CORT because we don't want to burden the leasing staff, right? Leasing staffs don't have time for this. You can connect directly with CORT. Now, fill in any other blank on that. Could be any other company, could be Wayfair, could be anybody. Doesn't need to be furniture, but you can all do it from the property website. So the second example is a company called Sparks. I think it's a little mini video. It's just another way, a more elevated way to do it. Just think if I'm on the property website speaking about furniture, I know we're moving, I know I got to make a decision. Now I see this cool dollhouse model thing. It's a little more sticky. I'm checking it out. What are they talking about here? Oh, I can pick packages. I can pick a living room, dining room. There's pricing. It's changes. All I can do is click this button and I'll get a discount. And properties get a revenue share back to it, right? So just a simple, again, I'll say it a million times, but other furniture companies, retailers, other companies selling other products and services can all do this through this technology. Last one I think here is, this is from LCP Media. This is more of your virtual tour. What I like now is instead of taking random images from the website, you're using CORT Furniture. Because what do people say, Carol? They say, oh, can I get my place like this? Can I get it furnished like the model? Well, now you can say yes. A little button there, the I button, you can put a button on every piece there to talk about a price to buy that console or that TV. You can connect back to these retailers, right? And you make a margin. Ours happens to be rental, but again, it could be anything or to anyone.
And that does apply outside of just people that convert. So I want to throw that out there.
Yeah,
So
right.
like if you have prospects coming to your property and they're seeing these things and they're interacting, they can ultimately still purchase these things even if they don't live on your community. And that's of course an opportunity for you guys to make money off an audience that doesn't even live with you. I think that's really what you guys do well at Akara is you guys provide, if I'm not mistaken, opportunities for people that don't live there to leverage your amenities and facilities
Yep.
for a monthly fee. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We collect that membership fee monthly of $35, and that's your package delivery, your access to co-working, which is a whole other business model side of us is the co-working access. So, but to piggyback on what you guys were just talking about is we've even partnered, and this is, if you guys want to jot this down, it's a company called Dwellings Defined, and they're out of Chicago. And they started this. She's a professional interior designer, but she started this because her son got his first apartment, and he ordered all this furniture and couldn't get it up the elevator. It didn't fit through the front door, and this is her son, and she's a professional interior designer. So she develops what she does for properties free of charge. She'll come and measure, your typical units, and they make a whole landing page you can put on your website. And then they do all the finishes. So, like a cool cowhide rug or your art, all the interior finishes that you want to really bring your apartment to life. And I know there's several probably interior designer companies that do that, but Dwellings Defined, we've just loved working with them because if people are going to be there for a long time, or if you're in long-term multifamily, people are now looking to invest and okay, now I want to get a cool couch or a really nice credenza at my entryway. So there's some partnerships there that they'll come in, they're trying to get their brand out there, and they'll do these measurements and really make you look good by providing that service if people want to purchase and, invest in these pieces.
Absolutely.
Carol, I wanted to add to that is it just made me think about trusted partners that know multifamily,
Yep.
right? Because if you don't know multifamily, and some people could be a designer, but this lady sounds like she knows multifamily. She knows apartments, right?
Right.
And I think about my company and others, the ones you list there, they live in the multifamily space every day. So they know your challenges. They know what budgets are, because we may have all spending money, but we're not spending money maybe like a home, like the person is purchasing a home. You got to know multifamily. So I think a key takeaway here, whatever partner you have, find somebody that's got real credentials in multifamily.
Absolutely.
So as you look at examples, and we kind of jumped to these ones already, but yeah, can you tell us a little about the metrics
Sure.
and the numbers behind this example that you have down in Austin?
How many people have a guest suite? Can you raise your hand if you have a guest suite right now? Okay, handful. I know you got everything, right? So a guest suite would typically be a furnished apartment that you let your residents stay in. Well, today you can now, through technology, you can monetize that. So whether a resident wants to stay there, or you could publish it out into the marketplace through the channels, and can be furnished and generate income. So in this example, the property occupancy was 93%, which meant there was about 8 vacants at any given time. The guest suite occupancy at $189 a night was about 70%. You do the math, the revenue on that was, gross revenue was about $4,000, less expenses, fees, cleaning, all that. Your gross revenue was $26, and the apartment rent was $1,800. So they've got an $800 extra, right? And that builds their NOI at the end of the year around $32,000. But it was an amenity for the property, so people could say, wow, you could come stay here. We've got a guest suite here. They've had people come in and stay and then want to talk about leasing an apartment, because this particular one is near UT. And so think about families coming and students. So furniture is a big piece of how you can generate money. Guest suites, I guess I'm always thinking, how do I make a better value for my resident? How do I ask them to stay longer? The third, fourth, or fifth thing way down the line is, hey, can I make a little extra money on that? I don't lead with that if I was you, but it's always nice to make a little.
Absolutely.
Why don't you talk about what you guys are doing with guest suites? Because then there's some synergy in the fact that you've taken some of your extra units that aren't being used, done something similar to this, but now you've also got in-house cleaning, and you then take what you're doing with your guest suites and kind of talk a bit about this, because it's really fascinating.
So particularly in Phoenix, we have taken 19 units on one and a half floors offline. And this took us over a year to get to this point where we're managing it all in-house. We hired a company called Front Desk to help us really learn the process. And we permitted these units for short-term rentals in Phoenix. And we hired a consultant to help us find the best software, because we know that our Yardies and Entradas were just not going to be able to do the communication, the POS system, the check-in, check-out, So we found a software called Lavanda, happy to share that. They're based out of the UK. And so this is a one platform of all the communication, text messaging that our concierges stay on, because we've actually we've gotten our concierges to do more of the hoteling, just like a hotel front desk. So we're starting to think, because we're hospitality driven, we want our concierges to think like a front desk. And me coming from hotels, I love this because I was an old front desk girl. And, I'm like, okay, so you need to check them in, check the ID, do the communication. You're going behind the housekeepers. This is a little where they're more hands-on. So anyway, we partnered with a company and got these fully outfitted and decorated. And the fact that we can be flexible with some of our units were fully booked, and I had to call CORT and say, hey, we have 3 check-ins this weekend for a 30-day rental, and we're out of furniture, but we're never going to turn anybody away. So even if one of our unfurnished units is available, we can always use a partner to get that furnished. So the answer is always yes, that we can furnish it. Now, our furnished units in our properties stay booked, and I think I have a slide of like how that is staying occupied. But with the in-house cleaning and the quick turnovers, it's gotten to be really quick, where we can turn that unit in a matter of hours to check somebody in the next day for maybe a 2-night rental, or some are staying 30 days plus.
And because you now have the ability to rent out a room on a 1-day basis, like a hotel, a week basis, you have the infrastructure that you've offered that service to your existing residents.
Yes.
That if they want to be able to Airbnb their room for a period of time, they can easily do that.
We're almost there with that.
Almost.
So this is why we're still learning the cleaning process, the check-in, the communication. But part of our business model since the very beginning, when Raj and Shashri launched this company in 2011, was with traveling professionals to be able to make money on their rent when they travel. So if you can avoid your mortgage payment or your rent payment a month, which is our biggest, payments, and put that back into your business or your travel or, getting out of debt, that's the business model. So we're now taking more and more steps to get to that. But if you look at our studio apartments, they're designed, and we have like a locked master closet. They're designed to be like, they feel like a hotel room almost.
Because it's traveling professionals. You got someone who's a McKinsey consultant that Monday through Friday, they're not going to be home anyways.
Right.
They want to be able to have a great place to come home to, but they can.
Great. Right. Or, we have musicians, we have some athletes that are only there like seasonally, but it's still cheaper to have an apartment with us and have their washer dryer, their kitchen, everything that they expect to have home, but they're only there maybe like twice a month. So
Okay,
Yeah.
so, go ahead.
No, it's a great point. I go, gosh, if I had Carol, I would do that, right? And so I'm just thinking that you can do that with one unit. Just think of those companies like the company I was just showing here, that's Flex House. They would do one unit and provide probably not all those services, but list it, clean it, 24-hour concierge.
Yeah.
They're not going to greet you at the door for one unit, right? But you can do one unit, whether it's daily or it might be a 30, 60, 90 entertainer stay. That's a company that we own called Cass. So I just don't want you to walk away going, well, God, my company would never invest in that. You can do one unit.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And going back to Brandon's question of how we get our residents involved, they have a discount link that they can share with family and friends that we put on our co-working software, which is where we put all of our events on for RSVPing. And they can say, hey, and so we're really close to universities and hospitals. So we even partner with Ronald McDonald House when they're full, and these families are coming in for their sick children and they need to stay a long time. We're their go-to partner, and here's a quick link, go ahead and book it. So they don't have to do an application and a screening and all these things, and they can just submit their payment right through our POS platform with our short-term rental program. So, it's no application. They do the screening
like a hotel.
through.
It's like a hotel.
It's if you Google Connect Phoenix Hotel right now, you'll see apartments.com, Expedia, Airbnb, and it goes to, we have 19 of those units. But to Pete's point, we started super small, and we figured out with what it needs to be furnished like, and how long the cleaning is, and where everything needs to be reset. Yeah.
Okay, so talk about cleaning. Walk us through some of kind of your tiered
Sure.
cleaning.
So here's some of my marketing materials. I had so much fun making these. So we called it the connection, kind of like the ion of cleaning. And so everybody gets this with their welcome letter digitally. And we also have a little 4x6 flyer that we put in with their move-in packet. And then right out of the gate, they can scan this QR code. If you guys want to try it, it would take you to a Calendly link. And our concierges, they can go ahead and choose every single Tuesday, and then, or one Tuesday a month. So they can go ahead and book all their dates on these calendars. It goes right to our cleaning crew, which maintenance oversees that crew to make sure that they're going in and cleaning. They have a checklist of, okay, clean, ready to go. And then we have a check-in time. Sorry, I'm going to the hotel part. But so you can see that the studio rates monthly start at $99, twice bi-monthly is $169. And if they want a weekly cleaning, you can do that for $299. Now, with some of my groups that I work with, we're now installing a mandatory move-out clean. So this is something we want to roll out for everybody because it's really great ancillary revenue. Because if you could just pick up and move out of your apartment, and you don't have to worry about doing all the refrigeration cleaning and cleaning your windows and dusting, you can just leave, and we charge you $125. We're also making that, and so as we're getting back into this,
right? Yeah.
We're getting back into the student world.
Here's a tip too.
Yeah, we're getting back into the student world, and as I've been doing some due diligences in our upcoming markets, and some people in the student world are already charging back mandatory move-out cleans, and I mean, we've projected that to be at an extra at least $35,000 to $40,000 a year. If you have 50% renewals, what are you really turning? And then we started with, when we rolled it out, this is a little bit older of a poll, but we just put our polls everywhere of like, hey, would you use this service? We had some gamification on Modern Message of, take a poll, get some points. So we were able to get feedback. And as you can see, it says, majority of those were, I'm excited, looking forward to learning more. And some people were like on the fence. So it's picked up quite a bit, and we're still figuring that out. It's really popular in Nashville, but it's still taking off in Phoenix. So each market is different too, that really wants cleaning or not. So this is an example of our daily coffee and drip service, and you can see our brand new picture of market. And due to copyright, we had to add an asterisk because the K was already copyrighted. But you can see people can now go downstairs, or they can still use the coffee drip and the cold brew and co-working and get that. Why are we doing this? What was our decision to make this into a market?
Now all of a sudden it is breaking. So.
Here we go. So this is just a quick little video, and we want to create routine. We want to keep our residents on property and spending money. Where we are on Music Row in Nashville, I mean, the nearest coffee shop is at another hotel, and it turns out they close at 11 a.m. So now that hotel came to us, and we've created little flyers of like a little map of where to go. And it's a really fancy hotel. And so now that hotel and our surrounding partners are pushing people to our storefront retail. We're providing revenue generating elevated coffee and grab and go services. Being on Music Row, people kind of stumble in and want to get a little pizza, just like at your Home 2 Suites. I've been guilty of that, of like, okay, let me get a Hot Pocket. It's been a long day. Contribute to the community with more food and beverage services. We cater to busy professionals. So after a long day, we've all been there. We don't want to have to walk or, Uber Eats if we're on a per diem stipend. We can just go down there and grab a to-go salad. And we do try to really focus on healthy options. And then increased online exposure. I mean, people are taking pictures. They're coming from our competition right next door that doesn't have a coffee shop. And they're like, we come here every day. And then they're taking pictures and tagging, it becomes part of their daily routine. So yeah.
Tell us about, just keep running with these
Yeah,
slides.
so keep going with, services. And hopefully you guys are jotting down some ideas. And I'd love to talk later. And you can find me on LinkedIn because I'm just an open book. So this door-to-door package delivery, we call it the white glove package delivery. And this has been part of our brand standard since the very beginning. We did not add this recently. It's been part of the brand. So package theft, we want to reduce that first and foremost. We want to keep more eyes on the property because with 20 stories and more, there's no way our maintenance guys can see, and girls can see everything. So we want to keep our concierges that are delivering packages saying, hey, this light's been out, or there's, some stuff in the hallway. So it gets more eyes on your product for better resident experience. And it's great for traveling professionals, which goes back to what we're trying to solve all the time is catering to busy professionals. So are you catering to growing families? Are you catering to students? Do you cater to an aging population? It's just figuring out what you are catering to and then choosing these one or two things like Pete said. So when we started, we constantly get feedback on when people want their packages. So we typically deliver twice a day and one day on Sundays. And we were like, okay, we don't want our concierges to be away from their post as long as possible. We've actually had to add a part-time person to an org chart to deal with these packages. But we're not charging, this back. It's included with their amenity fee. So, and the number one, I'm not sure if you guys go to the AIM conference, which is the Apartment Innovative and Marketing Conference in Huntington Beach, but they show all these surveys. So J. Turner Research, just this past May of what I learned at AIM was that package services and package handling processes are like number 3 for people to make their decisions, right? Julie, I know you, you see those. Yes, and so like all those surveys that they released, it was like washer, dryer, in unit, internet, cell service, and packages. And so if we can, top those, that's going to give you higher leasing conversions.
And when they deliver the packages, are they leaving it on the doorstep or using smart access to just drop it inside?
Yes, good question. So we knock 3 times and we actually slip the package right inside your door. Yep. Anything less than 50 pounds. We have an opt-out option and the concierges keep a running list of that because, some people don't want that. But for our busy professionals that aren't there all the time, it's keeping it from piling up in the package rooms. And we're getting more eyes on the product all the time. I mean, I can't tell you how many work orders, because I get kind of alerts on some of the big ones that, hey, there's a light out on the 17th floor, or, there's a dog situation on the 12th floor. Because, the guys walk as much as they can, but if we're constantly delivering package, we can see what needs to be done around property.
I just want to jump in really quick.
Yeah.
You said something pretty huge. These services are great. This is a shameless plug for anyone that sells smart technology. Former founder, smart locks. They make this process so much easier.
Yes. It's all tracked, yeah.
As you talk about package rooms, there's companies now that can sell you a few cameras, a couple lasers that'll turn that really archaic closet into a smart package room. So just more tech behind how you can think about doing this efficiently so that you're not just starting from scratch trying to figure this out.
Right.
And is it fair to say that the resident gets a notification, oh, someone just dropped off, like the door opened, they get an access code was used to drop off a package?
Yeah.
That
No, they don't.
Okay.
No, they don't get a notification.
You
No.
could if you had some.
Now, if they're like, I want to see, I know.
And I know
mean,
technology is possible, and particularly
Yeah.
if you feel like there might be a a concern of adoption, having that transparency. They
Right.
know that if someone's using something to access my door, getting notification, that may overcome that,
Right.
that concern, objection.
And having that, I mean, there's always a key audit trail every time your key is used, with the fob that's assigned to that person. But that's a great idea. So I'm going to look into that. Yeah.
So if I'm sitting in the audience right now, I'm starting to think, well, why? I mean, it sounds like a lot of work, a lot of hassle. It's the number 3 thing. It's one of the main reasons people move, right? Packages are not going away, people. Christmas is coming, right? You're just going to be deluged with it, and finding a solution for that. Or 70% of families have pets. What's your pet plan, right? I think we need to make some decisions about bringing more value to the resident. They stay longer, they pay more rent, typically, and there's some ancillary. That's. I mean, you don't.
It's a win-win-win for
all the way
everybody.
down.
Yeah.
I was hoping. Oh, you're going to talk further. Can we pause for a second?
Yeah.
The other method we didn't talk enough about. Give us some examples of outsourcing this to a company that just does it all. Because might be my option, right?
Yeah.
Help me just so I don't have Carol.
Yeah, and I love that you had it on your previous slide. I think Fetch is a great company that
I've
you can get in
been
touch
really
with.
happy with them. Yeah.
Yeah, Fetch is great. Love those guys, former sister company of mine. So, I call them today. They can offer some services. There's some nuance, and I love that you have the graph on times, right? That's where people can get a little bit sensitive.
This
Hey,
is real life data.
I was expecting my iPhone 16 to show up today at 11. Well, it showed up. It's just with Fetch, and they're going to come back, around 8 p.m. So there's some nuance there. Of course, you can get into things like package lockers, and there's more technology you can deploy. But going back to your call out, Pete, there's partners that do this, that solve this for you, take that burden off you. And I think there's also kind of an administrative piece that we all keep coming back to, and that's how do you raise your rents? And raising rents right now is arguably one of the most controversial topics that we could be talking about as states are banning software that help push those rents. But there's a reason why we raise rents. Capital projects, more labor hours, just more amenities. And so when you offer these services, it becomes really clear and really easy to raise those rents because you're not, the renter doesn't feel like there's just some arbitrary rent lift that's happening here. You can really point to, well, you have this, you have this, you have this, and you're making some money on it. But the renter doesn't think about that so much because they can point to
They
these
perceive
services.
the value.
Yeah.
They perceive the value. It's solving a pain point.
I think you're hitting the value question right on the nail on the head because when people come to us, and I don't know what it is about apartments, but they're saying, well, next door they're doing this, or right down the street they're doing this. I'm like, yeah, but do you go to, Old Navy and say, or do you go to Lululemon and say, hey, Old Navy's charging this for their leggings. Can you go ahead and match that? No, because you know the value, the quality, the product of what you're getting. So I train my teams to say, okay, it's great. We have to keep an eye on the competition, of course. But our value and services are top notch, and we have like a value check that we have on our tour path, and it's like check, 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 and it saves them like almost $3,500 a month on other stuff that you're going to be spending your money on. And
That's huge.
we talk. That's part of our tour path. Yeah.
We need to show them what value they're getting. You need to show them
Yes.
that, and that's easy to do. I also like some of these services you can provide for free for the move-in for 90 days, right? Whether that's cleaning service, pets, or whatever it might be, and that just hooks people. Oh, it's free.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like a lifestyle to me. That's what
Yeah.
you guys
Yep.
are painting.
Yeah.
It's definitely, we're to that point, I think, in our day and age. Where
I think the next one you've got your stats on the difference between furnished and unfurnished.
Right.
So walk us through this. This is your.
This is our week over week that I started from the dawn of time. So every single week, I just did this off our furnished studio and unfurnished studio, not all the floor plans. But heck, you can see throughout week over week of how many furnished people are choosing to keep releasing furnished apartments versus our unfurnished. And those pretty much stay full. And I think to Pete's point and to working with a partner, if you don't have your own furniture product, is that people are willing to take a furnished apartment or invest in that. And our delta is typically around $300 to $350 off market rent with your furnished package. So we've amortized that over, the course of like a 2-year thing to get our money back. But, we're not charging $800, $900 for a furnished package. It's literally a $300 delta.
Show, I think on the next slide, you've got a video of one of yours.
Oh yeah, so this is Zach Day. He was on American Idol and he was runner-up on The Voice. And he runs our podcast called Connect the Dots. So he did a fun little like day in the life of his apartment.
Random things in my Nashville studio apartment that, you guessed it, just make sense.
We turn it
So
up
I
a bit.
use this as a bookshelf, but you can also pull it toward you and it becomes what I think they call a floating desk, which is really fancy and cool. Do a lot of my work on my computer or just drink my coffee here. Here I have my big comfy couch, but then I'm going to come on in and just take off those pillows and the big cushion in the back and bring my bed down, which is powered by a remote control. The sliding door saves a lot of space when entering the bathroom. Then in the shower, we have 2 shower heads. One of them you can remove. Then I have these huge floor-to-ceiling windows, which gives me a great view of the city and allows me to plot for my world domination.
So going back into the furnished apartments, taking that stress off of moving. I mean, moving, I think Cam, I don't know if he's in the room, but from Rentley said, moving is one of the most stressful things we do in life. But with what we've incorporated in our furnished apartments for some of you builders is that we have built-in charging stations, built-in lighting to change the vibe, from night to day. Has anyone ever walked outside their property at night and like seen the night vibe? I love doing that because I'm like, oh, these have purple lights and it just kind of brings it to life. And then I'm like, oh, these apartments look empty. We need to like have a light sensor to like, have like some lights on. So, if we are a little under, we don't want to look totally empty. We have built-in hidden storage because we have mostly studios and that's what we're catering to. But we didn't skimp any space on the bathrooms. And even working with putting furniture in your bathroom or, towel racks, extra storage, I think is so important as well. And these floor-to-ceiling, tall ceilings, of course, open up the space. And everybody has in-unit washer dryer, furnished or not. Again, it's expected now. I mean, I have been in this industry for going on 15 years, and we've always had in-unit washer dryers. But now it's going to be the tech starts, what they're expecting with this next generation. And then every single studio has a mounted smart TV just because of the space.
So some of you might be looking at this and thinking, man, she's got such good videos. We struggle to get someone to be able to make videos that connect with this generation. Listen to this. It's a brilliant idea.
So we developed an influencer program probably after the first year in 2020 when I was opening both of these buildings during COVID, during the shutdown. So we had to make a lot of video and do our virtual events and use StreamYard to do our virtual social events. So it came down to it when we were moving in that we still wanted people to get leased. I mean, we're still leasing up. So we did the math and it just made sense to have an in-house photographer or videographer because when we were outsourcing all of our events to film and edit photography, because we want professional photography on our Instagram. We don't want the back of people's heads or trash cans and, whatever. So we did the math and we put these in a studio apartment and they had like 10 deliverables a month. We have a tracking platform of where we track their analytics, their deliverables, and we're solving for a problem. So we created a full-blown contract with our legal counsel team, our brand experience director, Jenna Gottlieb. Her and I work very closely. We have weekly check-ins with them. We ideate, we get creative, we find trends that we want them to do.
And so to make it clear, their rent is free in exchange for them doing these deliverables.
Yes, so they have to, so we have 30 events a month, including fitness classes. But we have 5 big ones that we want, filmed, and then they do a big recap for our investor reels, and we put those on social media as well. So we want to create user-generated content. We want it to make it look like the people living there are making this content, and it's not like the staff or us, hey, come lease an apartment. We want it to be a lifestyle video. We want them to bring the property to life, like tell a story, and then we want to show the valuable and unique perspectives. So where to start? So you can just see like some of our professional photography. This was just from our Halloween party like last week.
Quick question.
Yeah.
How long do you give them that apartment? You sign like a 24-year lease, 10 years, you give it to them?
That's also another great question. So we had to tweak this a little bit to keep people on their toes. And instead of doing a 12-month lease with an influencer, we now do 3 to 4 month contracts. And we have found that that's the sweet spot to keep them working. And if there's a situation where they're not getting along with the team or they're getting a little too diva-ish, we can politely end that contract and move on.
So I can't sign a contract then?
I mean, I would love to have you. Oh my gosh, you would make it look so cool.
We got to do a check.
Yeah, question from Julie. Yes, so do we actively seek out the influencer or do they find us? It's a little bit of both, and in our markets, we have a little bit of a PR retainer that we find with a local PR company, and that's where we start. And then over time, people find us and then they reach out. So a little bit of both. So at the beginning, if you're trying to start an influencer program, reach out to your a local cool PR company and say, hey, can I purchase a list of the top podcasters or the top influencers in your market? And then you find what genre you're looking to solve. So we have an in-house chef. Her name's Mama Jen, because it's much easier to have an in-house chef for an $1,800 apartment than to cater food at every event. So she has a budget with her events, and she gets trained, and she does brunch mimosas and all of our big events, and she cooks. And now she's like the house mom, and everybody loves Mama Jen, and they comment on our Google or GBP about her. So it's about what you're trying to solve. So we want videography, we want lifestyle, lifestyle influencers to show how the gym works and the dog park and getting my coffee every day. And then we want, because we have so many events, we want in-house catering. So we used at the beginning a local PR company to find those people. And then secondly, what was the second question? The followers. So yes, we ask them 5 questions, and they have to provide us their handles to Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, because YouTube Shorts is our biggest one now. And then we do a little bit of due diligence, and then we interview them just as normal, and we set our brand expectations of, even when if you live on property and you attend an event off work, you're always representing us. So we set that expectation that they're representing our brand. They have to, behave on property. They can't be getting drunk at events and things like that. So we set that expectation and hold them to those standards.
Very cool.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really cool. Pass that down. We're going to go light speed now because
Okay.
we're at less than 5 minutes. So where to start? Give us the 30 seconds here.
Yeah, find a trusted vendor, use a lot of feedback, use your online sources, invest in the learning process, and set those expectations. You don't have to have everything out to get started.
This video was 30 million.
I think it's on the next one with the shower hat. Return on investment. So these are our polling. This is where our online reputation, you can gauge that. And this is a quick quote of what people are saying about what they love. So you can get all this feedback from these sources and using a tech provider such as Modern Message and constantly looking at your Google business profile.
All right. I know we had these slides. I think these came from you.
Yeah,
I'll talk to these real
we'll
quick.
make it super quick. I am just astounded by the great work that you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
It's absolutely amazing. The reality is most don't have a Carol, as we've said multiple times, but it is very clear to every operator in this country they have to do more, and they're really focused on their own brand experience. From Ventura, I heard something from the team over at Bizzuto where their renewals across their communities, about 60% of those renewals or new move-ins are former Bizzuto residents, meaning, hey, I may be done with this location, but I don't even want to go to another management company. I want to stay here because you have this brand, you have this lifestyle, you have this access to services that I can't get any other place. So, what we're generally just saying is pick a partner, choose them, get serious. You may find out, hey, we can do coffee or we can do cleaning in-house. Learn from them first before you tackle that challenge. But the reality is that we're showcasing a platform, Amenify here. They've got almost 1 million units on their platform.
Okay.
Right? So this isn't something that you're going to go pioneer for the first time. Trust a partner. They'll give you the experience. In a lot of cases, Pete, I think you called it out earlier, a lot of your first-time users of these platforms, they're getting coupons, they're getting free services just to create that stickiness. And we can't say it enough. Your renewals will start to skyrocket. Again, can't mess up on maintenance, but your renewals will start to skyrocket.
This
talk about
This is a
ROI.
quick slide I put together for you. So going back to our in-house videographer and photographer. So I did some quick math. So we get 10 videos at $400. We would pay $400 a video. That's $4,000 a month to get videos. Let's say we have 4 events that we want photographed. That's $2,000 a month just for like an outsourcing, typical amateur, probably not even your high-end places. So conclusion, that's $72,000 a year that we would be spending on videography and photography, which should just be part of our brand standard, and not asking one of our leasing coordinators to be like, hey, will you go to this party and take pictures on your phone? So apartment trade is, let's say $2,000 a month. We're saving $48,000 a year. Investing in video, this is my partner Real Link. I do a lot of stuff with them. This is 35% of our maintenance work orders, and we made 9 videos that contribute to 35% of our maintenance work orders, and everybody gets this. So I calculated this is gonna save up to 11 days of work over a year and like over 400 hours or something.
I'm gonna show you
So we showed like how to work your oven, how to work your air filter, your GFI, resetting your HVAC. So you can go on to the next slide, but return on investment, we can see from our visit platform, which I found at Tech Home Summit, is we can get that satisfaction of how happy people were, where we need to improve. Did the maintenance guys not complete something, so we can keep that satisfaction. So here's the big picture that you can take to your CEOs. I'm sure some of you are the CEOs, but here's the ROI. So amenity fees, we collect a amenity fee once a month from each person in an apartment. So each human being, not just an apartment. That's your package, delivery, events, and your access to co-working. We have our market. Of course, we had to put some capital in with this. We hired a third-party manager just to get started. We average, right now, we're averaging around, I want to say 30 grand a month. That's $360 a year. Having furnished apartments with that $300 delta, reduce wear and tear, move in, read, what did I put there? And then the STR premiums on top of that. We have our cleaning services that we're averaging around $148,000. That's based at $99. So I did it on the very low level, at just one clean of a quarter of the property. So that's very minimal. So if you think that you can get 50% of your property getting cleans at least once a month, that's much more revenue. So in conclusion, we're bringing in about an extra almost 1.6 in extra revenue and reducing labor costs, and we're keeping everything in-house. So it's our people, it's our brand. We care because this is our careers and our jobs that we do every day, not always a third-party company, but third parties are great because if someone calls in sick, they're gonna replace that person. So you always, can rely on that human being to be there.
Okay, so we're at time. Let's do key takeaways. Go ahead.
Yeah, so right now, millions of people are shopping online, looking at your property website. So maybe thousands, maybe hundreds, wherever you are. And what is setting you apart? Because they're narrowing their search long before they ever walk on your property. They're making a decision, getting down to 1 or 2 apartments. What are you doing to set yourself apart? Many of these services that we're talking about will set you apart, right? And then it allows you to charge the appropriate rent. Not only people are shopping for apartments, everybody that's living in your apartment homes now is thinking about moving, right? They're considering it. And these services, these value adds are bringing more reason for them to stay. So I would go through it. I'd think about parking. I'd think about pets. I'd think about packages and what could you do to be better?
As a technologist, as an operator, I'll keep it really simple. Your residents right now have 20 to 30 apps they're using to live and experience something. Their phone fatigue is serious. Stop that. Okay? Build a cohesive experience. And to build a cohesive experience, you should be working with partners that are for the multifamily industry or for the rental industry, which then means they're going to have very tight integrations with your PMS, other platforms, so that you can have a seamless experience. And lastly, I would say, even though some of this hardware can be, kind of capital intensive, start thinking about investing in smarter hardware at your communities, whether that's locks, lighting, as we talked about, there's various things that you can be doing. Maybe not at the door, maybe it's just the gate to get in, but think about how you can invest seriously in your community, take your community to the next level.
Yeah, my next exciting key one thing is lighting in the common areas, because I want to create that vibe.
Well, we're talking about kitchens later, so.
Yes, I know. Yeah, come to the noon, we're gonna be talking about kitchens.
Yep.
Asking for feedback and what saves time will always work. So just keep that in your back pocket and review your org chart. When's the last time you reviewed your org chart with everybody? Can you squeeze in, if you're gonna be bringing an extra 1.5 a year with some of your services, or maybe an extra 400 grand, can you squeeze in another human being there to provide that service? And then not have to put it on your leasing team so they can stay focused on sales and, keeping heads in beds.
Well said. I think last but not least, make sure you do your due diligence. So find your partners, find a few of them, make sure that you dig into what they actually do and how they're going to provide value. But call some of their customers. That would be my recommendation. Call some properties they've deployed at, make sure they're going to give you guys a positive experience. But outside of that, just pick somebody, because ultimately not choosing anybody, you're going to see a worse impact than if you choose the wrong solution. So very important to keep that in mind.
Your competition is using somebody.
Absolutely.
I promise you that.
So I hope each of you walked away with at least one idea that you want to try and experiment with to be able to add additional revenue. Here's contact information for all our panelists up here. They'd be happy to talk to you. Join me in a round of applause for this panel.